So in recent years, it seems the impossible has been done. And that is, of course, making a decent live-action adaptation of either a manga or anime. Yes, that's basically it. And I'll say the first time we've seen it done was with the Rurouni Kenshin live-action films. I thought that was done so well, I love that series. And I'll also add One Piece, even though I'm not a personal fan of that, but it seems like a lot of the fans did like that one a lot. So they have proven in the past that it can be done. And now I can officially say they've done it again with the new adaptation of Golden Kamuy. So Golden Kamuy is a live-action film based on the manga of the same name that was published back in 2014. And the film is directed by Shigeaki Kubo. And it was recently released on Netflix and has since gained a lot of praise from anime and manga enthusiasts. So, I for one have never heard of this manga, but I did get a recommendation for it in one of my comments, so I decided to check it out. And I did do some research on it, and it seems like it is worth getting into. Seems like it's a really good story. And I will say that after watching the film, it does make me want to go and check out the manga. But I am looking forward to more live-action adaptations of the story, and it does look like they're planning some future films of this. Hopefully this can end up being a film series as good as the Rurouni Kenshin movies, and I do still believe that those are the best live-action anime adaptation of anything that we've gotten so far. And when it comes to adaptations of manga or comics or novels, fans always seem to make it seem like it's mandatory to be familiar with the original source material. But I beg to differ, in my opinion, any good to decent piece of art can be enjoyed independently. You shouldn't have to always be aware of every little detail, or every theory online, and every retcon in order to appreciate the work. And I will say that Golden Kamuy is just an incredibly ambitious Netflix project. And I was very impressed, especially of its storytelling. Also, the action was pretty stunning at times, very well done. The VFX and the CGI was also done really well. I'm not sure how they did the animals in this, but they actually look real. But I did hear that the series that follows up to this is a massive downgrade to this. But, with this film, just the production design and cinematography, the editing, it's just all top notch. And also just the performances from all the casts, they're just excellent. And I actually thought the dynamic of the two main leads was done really well. They definitely have chemistry. So because of that, I want a continuation with these actors. And the story for Golden Kamuy follows a veteran named Saichi Sugimoto. And it takes place during the early 20th century during the Russo-Japanese War. And it involves this journey to find this massive sum of gold that belongs to the Ainu people, taking place in the Hokkaido region. And just throughout the film, the protagonist meets others along the way who also want the gold for themselves, of course, or they're just seeking power of some kind instead. Everyone's out for something. So overall, just a very fun plot. It's actually very exciting to watch too. There is still some slow moments though, it's not the best pacing, and the melodramatic moments at the end didn't really do much for me. But I will say I did like the addition of just having the treasure map be this form of tattoos that's on these prisoners that they have to find, and if they find all the prisoners then they can get the full map. So I thought that concept itself was just very clever and just different. But I will say that it's one of those films that can easily just throw off the viewer, especially if you're just not paying close attention. And this has more so to do with just the amount of characters that you have to follow, rather than just the actual plot. But it is based on the manga, so there is, of course, some weirdness that didn't really make sense to me, but I still went along with it. Anime is weird, usually all the time, so that's just the medium. But something that really saves the movie's plot, though, is the story's main protagonists. I thought the actor who played him did an excellent job. And luckily the film mostly follows him, so as long as the viewer focuses on him, everything's pretty easy to follow. But I will say, even though it's a simple plot, it does suffer from one of the biggest problems that most of these live-action film adaptations fall victim to, and that is just trying to pack a ton of content into just 2 hours. The manga is 31 volumes long, and it concluded back in 2022. So that's just a ton of story to put into a single film. And even if the writers are just given 1 arc per movie, there's still bound to be many things that are just going to be left out due to time restrictions. So because of that, not everything's going to make sense. So again, if we want the full context, we're going to have to go to the source material, the manga. Anyway, once you've watched the film, you can check out the 9-episode series, which is also on Netflix, and it works as a sequel to this first movie. And again, both are on Netflix, so that's very convenient. And as of right now, I have yet to watch the series, but I do plan on it because I just, I want to know what happens next. And yes, that also means that this film ends on a cliffhanger, unfortunately, but it's just the introduction to this epic story. So overall, I found this to be a good film. It's entertaining, there's great fights and action. My favorite's a scene involving a fight on a moving sled. Definitely look out for that one. And again, there is some anime weirdness in this. And I have heard that the manga has some really crazy stuff in it actually, so I wonder if they'll put that in the series or not. And this does have just the feel of an anime, but with actors. Sometimes the actors are just acting goofy like they would in an anime. But at least there's no crazy hairdos or outrageous outfits. And some of the scenes and characters are actually pretty funny. I thought the dynamite scene was hilarious. And there is actually a few bear attacks in this. And luckily the CGI was just done really well in this. I was definitely impressed. And overall, the production in this just looks great. But I will say the costumes did look kind of fake to me. I wish they had more of a lived-in look. Instead, they have that fake, clean look that everything has now. I mean, they're stylish and cool looking, but probably just not very realistic. But I will forgive it for that just because of what it's based on. So anyway, let me know in the comments if any of you like this series. Do you recommend the manga? Did you like this adaptation? And like always, thanks for watching.